in the past month, I have managed to flip a $300 account into $6. And in this video, I am going to show you just how easy trading actually is if you don't complicate your own mindset. Now, what is happening, beautiful traders? How you guys doing? I am doing absolutely lovely, and I'm super excited to let you know that I've been working on something for the past few months and it's eventually launching now. My very special CTG Elite program is specifically designed to turn any person into a profitable trader. Now, this 6 weeks program includes a live trading room, one-on-one strategy call sessions, and small weekly group calls with the other beautiful traders that are going to be in the program. This will also include lifetime access to the private inner circle and the current mentorship group that we have. So if you're serious in applying, make sure that you click the link in the description below and apply and book your spot today. I am back again with the Nasdaq weekly analysis, especially now that we have closed off the month of August. If you did not know, June, July, and especially August are the worst months to trade Forex. And you know, September and going forth, we're actually going to be sitting in good profit. Now, I know that you are ready to make these weekend withdrawals with me, right? So we're going to dive right into the weekly analysis. But before we do all of that good stuff, if you are new to the channel, welcome. We trade the Nasdaq over here. If you're returning, welcome back. You already know what's up. Don't forget to hit the like button, turn your post notifications, and subscribe to the channel. We're gonna start by looking at our investing.com because you already know that every new month comes with different challenges. Now, what people should understand when you're trading Forex is the market is always changing. Last week we had a really crazy week because, you know, the market was just acting all crazy, and this is also especially Mr. Powell was speaking and they were cutting, you know, interest rates and stuff like that. The fundamental analysis was playing a big role in the market movement, especially last week. And for this current week, we're looking at no trades on Monday because you can see that it is a holiday in the US tomorrow. So we are not going to be trading because there's going to be little to no volatility in the market. And what do I always say? You want to trade US stocks when there is volatility in the market. And when is that? During the New York session. So if there's no volatility, then there's no reason for you to take the trade. But the UK market will be open, the Asian market will be open, so you can trade things like the FTSE, you know, you can trade things like all of those are the Forex pairs, you know. I was like, the JPY, what is that? You can clearly see that I don't trade those things, right? But you can actually check out those markets, they will be open. And obviously on Tuesday, as you can see, we're gonna have PMI. So I only like to look at 3 head news because those are the most important and those are actually what move the market. On Wednesday, I'm gonna be looking at the jobs opening data right over here, and we have PMI. Only news event that I'm actually mostly interested about is, just like all of you, NFP, right? We're gonna be looking forward to NFP, and that is on Friday at 3:30. And you already know how to trade NFP. If you don't, make sure you just check out all of the other videos that I've posted on actually how to trade NFP. Now, going on to our beautiful chart right over here, you can see that we are starting off with Nasdaq. As a matter of fact, let me just go to US30 and just show you how it has broken out of the highs. I've been telling everyone that US30 wants to break out of the highs, and people were looking at me like, you know, and it has broken out of the highs, right? You can clearly see that US30 is actually going to try and, you know, test the highs that it formed on Thursday, right? As you can see right over here, we have US30 forming this high on Thursday, and then right now is going to form that current high. And according to the weekly analysis, it's only US30 that kind of, you know, really played out as good as I would have wanted it to. And, you know, if you are really patient with the trade, I think you would have made, you know, decent profit. Now on US30, there is nothing complicated with this chart. Now that it has formed a new high for us, we're going to mark it up as usual. So whenever you're trading, you always want to mark up your zones because you want to trade in the zones. You don't want to trade at any random point. Currently the market price, right, currently at 41,545. This is a random point. It's not any point of interest. You want to trade when the market gets to certain point of interest. That's why you're going to mark up your zones. So obviously the first important zone is the high that it wants to retest, right? So you mark up zones like support, resistance, you know, the new highs, the new lows. Those are the kind of zones that you want to be marking in the market, right? So over here you can see that we have marked up the high that it formed, and the market is approaching. So when the market gets to a certain zone, it either has to break out of the zone or it has to get rejected at that zone. I am always seeing the same things. So on US30, what are we saying? We're saying the market has a chance of breaking out of this high that it formed. It's going to retest it. If it does break out of the high, it means it wants to form another high. So we're going to buy the highs, right? But if it rejects at this zone, it shows us that selling pressure is stepping in. You want to know your price action. You want to know candlesticks. You want to know the good bearish candlesticks that you should be looking for before you take a selling position at the zone, because it's a good place to either buy or sell depending on the price action, right? So as you can see right over here, we'll wait for US30 to hit the zone and react. We want to wait for the reaction, right? And after that, we'll find a good entry point. And if it does go back down, obviously you already know that these are already the highs that it broke out of, and then also these were the highs. Then this level can be retested, right? So if the market does something like coming back to this zone, you want to look for good price action also before it pulls up. And you already know that we will look for buying positions so long it has not broken out of the resistance twice. The first resistance can be broken. We will still look for buys. If it breaks, cool, it's hits our stop loss. The second one, we'll still look for buys. If it breaks, then we want to now step back. And if it now breaks the third one, then we're already on a downtrend, because the movement that it forms doing this until it breaks that zone, this movement is no longer a retracement. That is a possible change of direction on the chart. Now that is really interesting. You can see that trading is absolutely not difficult. You just have to understand what is happening in the market. I really like analyzing like this, making things as simple as they should be. Right now, looking at our Nasdaq, this chart right over here almost made me lose my mind, because it was just attacking my stop losses for the whole week. If I did not just go in for re-entries, I would have closed off the week with really red numbers on my portfolio, right? But as you can see that, Nasdaq was getting into certain zones and then, forming wicks and then, just going back up in our direction, right? So do y'all remember this trend line? We did have this trend line a little while ago before it broke out of it. And you can see that it broke out of this trend line like this, and then it did not retest the trend line, right? You see right over there, it didn't retest it. It went and it broke out of that zone, which actually supported the buying momentum that I'm always preaching about, because we are on an uptrend on Nasdaq. Then we're always going to be looking for buying positions, right? So a lot of people would have break off the trend line. Now we're waiting for a retest at this zone, and then because you want to just sell and ignoring the overall trend, right, you will cry. So that's what we're talking about on Nasdaq now. But then you can see that this trend line is no longer valid because it has been broken before, right? So this will probably be what is now valid. This is kind of like what is now valid. But I really don't like trend lines that look like this, right? Because it's just sketchy. It's weird to draw a trend line that actually looks like this. So we're gonna delete this one over here and try and find a better trend line. And I know that I've been looking at the market really closely lately because Nasdaq has been playing around. So we're going to mark it up like that, up this zone that we only need, right? We only need this bank zone right over here like this. Now what other trend line can we have that the market can bounce off of, right? We can see that the market was really forming a nice little trend at this zone. So we can see that the market broke out of this trend line, went up to the top, and right now it's kind of like playing around at that zone that we marked up at this level. So we can also draw a trend line that looks like this. So this is going to be just a rough sketch, right? So we have 1, 2, 3 touches right over there, and this is as simple as it says, right? You can see that Nasdaq went up to the top, broke out of this trend line, and then it came back. It formed a new trend line that it can break. There's a chance that it can break out of this trend line. If it does, want to buy it if it comes into this bank zone, and if it does not respect this bank zone, it's going to drop and go and look for another retested trend line. This one, it's going to come and retest this other trend line right over here, and if it does, it's going to be probably at this zone, and at that zone you can see that we have this other bank zone, right? So in the instance that the market breaks out of these zones, we want to look for buying positions in this level, and obviously accommodating this week right over here on Nasdaq. And then obviously the most immediate entries is if it breaks out of the zone. We can also draw a little trend line like this. I think it does have that on the 1 hour time frame. on the 1 hour time frame. Let me just remove everything else because it just looks a little, you know, scruffy now. See that if we come to this level, we can draw our trend line. Obviously, you know that I'm not going to draw this trend line like this. I'm going to draw that one with the week, right? So obviously I want to draw my week to week, week to week, and then everything else that's in here is just a fake out, right? It was faking out until it broke out of this level, and you can see a clear retest at this zone, and then now it just shot up to the top, right? So this is what Nasdaq was doing on the 1 hour time frame, and then you see it reacted off of this level. When it retested the trend line, it reacted off of that level, which it can bounce off of and then come back to also retest this trend line again, right? So other people can be looking for buying positions in this zone, but then there's a chance that it can break out and you still have to look for, you know, buying positions whilst it's still retracing this trend line right over here, right? And we should also remember that you can see that the market on the 1 hour time frame does have, you know, a little bit of liquidity, right? There are a lot of people that will come to this zone and want to put selling positions, right? A lot of people that want to sell Nasdaq at this zone. So that reason I can see the market coming to break out of this level so that it can just take out all of their stop losses and then probably come to this next zone, right? If it then wants to push up to the top, then it will push up to this level, and then we are going to now wait for a rejection right here. If it rejects, yeah, you can go in for sales at the zone with a really good tight stop loss. But if it breaks out, because that will probably be the highs, right? No, not yet, right? Oh, so that's still even another chance. It will still be another level, so it might reject off of this level, but then on the 1 hour time frame it can be a little short selling signal that you can use over there. But as for now, this is what the analysis on Nasdaq looks like. Nothing too complicated as usual. I know that we are going to have a really profitable week because since we have NFP, the market is going to be moving really crazy, but just make sure that you don't risk all of your capital on one single spike when you're trading NFP. And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button, turn your post notifications, and subscribe to the channel. And with that, it's been Tino, and I'll see you in the next lit video. Peace.